These are the potatoes that we planted in smart bags. They're growing good. Today we're going to plant sprouted seed potatoes into containers. Here's how we do it. Okay, that's Fort V. The bags that we're going to be using, these are 25-gallon bags, and we're going to fill them for planting purposes about half full. And we're going to plant 5 tubers in a grow bag. So the rough rule of thumb is you want to have 1 seed piece in about 5 gallons. So if you've got a 5-gallon pail from Home Depot, those will work. You do want to drill holes in the bottom of the bucket because potatoes do not like being wet. You want to be able to let the soil media that you're planting in dry out. So the beauty of these smart bags is they're made of kind of a space-age synthetic material, and any excess water, you really can't overwater because the water will drip out of the sides, out of the bottom. So it's perfect. And in addition, you get air pruning. So as your roots are growing in the bag, once they come to the edge, if they start to grow out, they're going to die from lack of moisture, and they get, it's called root pruning. So really these bags are superior than, say, a bucket, a 5-gallon pail, to where the roots grow out, can't go out anymore, then they start to encircle the tub. So that's called getting root bound. The operative ratio is you figure 1 seed piece for about 5 gallons. So in our case, we're going to use all Fort V mix because we've used it a lot and we know it works. If you're wanting to economize, you could take some of the Fort V, you could mix it, 50-50 Fort V and garden soil. You could even go 25% Fort V. In our case, we're going straight compost. Before we plant, I'm going to get some of our potato fertilizer. So this is the potato fertilizer that we use ourselves on our potato crop. It's really good. We sell it on the website in 3-pound bags and actually even 30-pound bags. So the recipe calls for a cup. So we want to use a cup of material per grow bag. This one already had the half a cup. I couldn't find my 1 cup measure, so we're doing 2 half cups. And this one already had half a cup, so I'm adding the second half a cup. Okay, mix that in. I'm mixing it up in what amounts to the bottom half of the 12.5 gallons. The roots on a potato plant are going to grow down, so it'll be most valuable to have this in the bottom half of the growth area. So again, this isn't rocket science. I'm spreading it out. And it is, basically ground up rock powder, so it's fairly dense. A little bit goes a long way weight-wise. But I'm mixing it up. When I'm done, it's homogeneous. You can't even see it's been blended in perfectly with the Fort V. So this is a nice light mix. There's some peat moss in it. There's some perlite in it. Some ground up rock minerals. Again, it's an organic compost. So all the materials in it are ones that are allowed under the U.S. Department of Agriculture National Organic Program standards. They're all on the permitted list. As organic farmers, we're required to use only permitted materials. And if you're a gardener or a small farmer that's not certified organic, you don't have to use permitted materials, but you might as well. Some of the materials out there sound good, but they may have ingredients in them that are not consistent with organic standards, so you're better off to go with materials that are approved for organic use if having an organic garden is important to you. So now the bags have been filled. These are 25-gallon bags that have been filled approximately half up. I put in fertilizer measurement, it's about 1 cup. So I put that in, mixed it in. Now it's time to plant the different seed pieces. So these have been warmed up now for about 2 weeks. We just brought them in the house. You can see that all of the eyes are now supporting sprouts that have come out. And we like to pre-sprout our seed potatoes at 70 to 75 degrees for 7 to 14 days before we plant. And one important rule of planting is to not plant a potato that is still dormant. It's important to give your seed time to sprout and break dormancy before you plant it. And even if you only spend 2 to 3 days between the time you receive your parcel in the mail and you plant it, you want to put it, say, on the very top of the refrigerator, topmost part of the room, where, you know, it may be 70, 75 degrees up high. By sprouting at a high temperature, you're going to gain benefits. And so, in this tub, we've got 5 tubers. Again, it's a 25-gallon tub. Eventually, we're going to have it filled up. So the rule of thumb is you need about 5 gallons of soil material for every seed piece. These are whole seed pieces that we're not going to cut. So we're just going to space them out as best we can around the perimeter, mostly around the perimeter and one in the center. Just like you would in your garden. You don't want to crowd them too much. We want to get as much area as we can for every plant. So I got it there. All I'm going to do is push it in, cover it up, push it in, cover it up. Nothing fancy. They're going to sprout probably within 2 weeks. Okay, so that's Yukon Gold, and I'm going to put some stakes in eventually. Here we're up to the next variety. This is dark red Norland. That's a short dormancy variety, and you can see the sprouts are much more developed. If I'm reasonably gentle with these, they're not going to be a problem at all, and I will predict that these will be the first potatoes that come through the ground. So again, we got our 5 tubers. Going to put them out in our X pattern. So that looks like about the most area for every tuber. Squish them in, cover them with some soil. Okay, and those are the dark red Norlands. Everything we're planting today are short season varieties. And short season obviously mean you don't have to wait so long to get your potato harvest. And it's especially valuable if you were planting in the fall. In most areas of the United States, you do have an end point to where you may get cold weather. And if you get cold weather before your tubers have sized, you may not get much of a yield. You cut your risk down if you plant short or mid-season varieties. Now, I'm going to go get some stakes and paint pen, and we'll do this right so that we keep track of these. So these are paint pens that we've been using, Mighty Markers, American made. And it's actual paint. It's not ink, but it's paint. It's actually got a little ball in there, so you shake it up for 30 or 40 seconds before you're going to use it. And then these are tools that we've been using on our farm for many years, and now we added them to the web store because we've had people tell us that the stakes that they use or the ink that they use, it just won't last for a season. So these are hardwood stakes made in the state of Maine. I think they're made out of birch, but I can't remember. But it's definitely hardwood. They'll last the length of the season. And our preferred color is a red stake and a yellow paint pen. Got to get the ink to come through. Come on. These will last a long time, and the barrel is big diameter, so there's a lot of paint in it. And we'll have a paint pen. We use them a lot, and they'll last for a couple of years. And if you do a good job putting the cap on tight, they won't dry out. There, it's working its way down. You can see the yellow coming through. So it's got a slanted blade, so you can write either fine, there we go, or you can write broad. So I'm just going to put down YG, and today's date must be the 13th, Monday the 13th. And I'm left-handed, so I got to make an effort not to smear them. Okay, then we've got dark red Norland. That abbreviation is DRN. Okay, we're done planting. We're going to take these outside so the sun can warm them up, and we're going to put a garden hose to them to get them watered down. So the beauty of the pallet is we can bring them inside and out. So right now we're still, most nights are down into the low 30s, high 20s. Had we planted these, we could bring them back and forth with the forklift so they come inside nighttime. And I'm going to bring them out to the edge of the pallet to give them maximum space for the plants to grow. What's the easiest way to get water? So these all have settings on it. This is the impatient setting. So we're just going to saturate this. I'm not worried about overwatering it because I know that the water can drain right out. Go through the cycle one more time. So now I've done what I need to do. Normally, now that we're caught up, this is the kind of light, gentle, misty rain I'm going to do. Once the bags are full, those sides will stay up fine. With these smart bags, with any kind of container, it's really important to water them adequately. When people don't get good yields, it's usually because they haven't been as attentive to watering as they should. And the beauty again of these bags is you can't water too much. The water will dribble right out. But I'd say if you're growing in these containers, a good practice would be to water them twice a week. Water them good so that the water goes all the way through. These are a great way to grow potatoes, and it allows you to grow them if you don't have any garden space. If you've got a balcony, if you've got any kind of backyard, even if it's graveled in, you can have grow bags, and it really has opened up the ability for people to garden without any kind of garden soil. This allows you to grow things without having a backyard. So if you're renting or don't have a backyard garden, here's the solution for that problem. Now I'm going to park these on the south side of our packing shed. That way the wind will keep off it, the sun can get at them. So I think they're probably going to get more heat. And then if we get a freeze that's in the forecast, we'll just bring them inside. But for now, I'll park them over there. So I'm going to plant them away from the drip line of the roof so that if we get a thunderburst, they aren't going to get beat up. But with the black bags, that ought to attract the sunshine. They ought to be able to warm up. And they'll be fine here without much attention. But, we're listening to the weather forecast every day this time of year. And if we've got a freeze in the forecast, we'll just use the forklift to put them back inside overnight. But it isn't hard. That's how you grow potatoes in containers. These are the potatoes that we planted in smart bags a few weeks ago. They're growing good.
Hi, we're here at Wood Prairie and I'm filling up the smart bags of potatoes that we're growing. You can start hilling as soon as your potatoes are a foot tall. Don't cover too many of the leaves. It's inevitable to cover 1 or 2 leaves. You have to hill potatoes to keep the sunlight from getting on the tubers. You want to keep those tubers that are forming out of the sunlight so they don't get green and bitter. When you hill up potatoes, you want to leave about 2/3 of the plant up in the sunlight so it can photosynthesize. Plants are very rugged, just move them out of the way. Shovel in some compost or more Fort V. And I'll unroll that bag up so that we can hold as much dirt as possible. So we'll just continue to hill these until we've filled up these pots until you've got the bag full. I've hilled up our potatoes in their grow bags. We'll give them a good water and they'll be good to go.
So this is a little trial that we began in the summer. On August 6th, we planted 4 smart bags full of potatoes. What we're trying to do is to demonstrate that potatoes that were grown as seed the year before, by planting them late, you can still get a reasonable crop even in a short growing season in northern Maine. So the frost killed these potatoes down in early October. They didn't even have 2 months to grow. So what we'll be harvesting are going to be small tubers, but it's just a demonstration that you can plant potatoes not only in the spring, but also through the summer and into the fall. This variety is dark red Norland, early red variety from North Dakota, one of our top selling varieties. So most potatoes are at least 90 days. Some go up to 120 days, even 130 days. So these barely had 60 days to grow, which is why the tubers are so small. But if you can imagine them sizing up for another month, we would have a nice harvest with a nice set or number of tubers per hill. We've been growing these in Vermont Organic Compost Fort V formula. And it's a organic compost that we grow our potato plantlets in, and it carries them through the whole season. And this compost we bring in our friend in Vermont, Carl Hammer. We've been friends for 30 years. He makes what is probably the best organic compost in the United States. We have been using this for many years. It's a high quality growing media that you can use for starting plants like tomatoes and peppers ahead of planting them out in the garden. Or in our case, we get tissue cultured potato plantlets and we grow early generation potato mini tubers in this soilless media. So you can see all of these small tubers would grow up in another month. These small tubers would grow up that size. Had we allowed these, had there been enough time for these to grow, that would have been a very nice yield from just one 25-gallon smart bag.